Hi, this is Randy from BokehImage.com and Dread242.com. My analog project 2011 continues in the month of March with the Holga 120GN. The G stands for glass. This particular camera has a glass lens. A lot of Holgas have plastic lenses. People like the plastic lens because it gives you a slightly soft or a dreamier look to your photos. I went with the glass lens because I wanted to get a slightly sharper, hopefully a slightly sharper image. This is a 60mm lens that shoots at f8. You have an aperture selector on top. You have a sunny and a cloudy. When it's on sunny, you're shooting at f11. When you're on cloudy, you're shooting at f8. You also have a selector here on the bottom to set it to B for bulb for long exposures. Inside this camera, you have a shutter that shoots at 1/125th of a second. Some say that it's 1/100th of a second, but my manual says 1/125th, so that's what I'm going to go with. This particular camera also, once again, typical for most toy cameras, you have zone focusing on top, and what that means is you don't get to see your focus by looking through the viewfinder. You have to guess or guesstimate the distance between the camera on the focal plane, I should say, or the film, the camera, and the subject. So you have 4 settings here on top. You have a portrait setting, which is 1 meter or 3.5 feet. You have a small group setting, which is 2 meters or 6.5 feet. You have a large group setting that's like 6 meters or 20 feet. And then you have the infinity setting, which is 20 feet or 10 meters all the way to infinity. This camera comes with 2 masks which attach to the inside of the camera. Right now the camera has a 6.6 mask and 120 film inside. So the mask pretty much snaps down inside the camera and it puts a frame around your images. This is a 6 by 4.5 centimeter mask, 6 by 4.5, and it gives you it just crops your image. When you're using this 645 mask, you get 16 frames per roll of 120 film. I have the 6 by 6 centimeter mask inside, so I'm getting only 12 frames. But I like that square image. That's why I particularly I love using that particular mask. A lot of people don't even use the mask at all. They expose the entire width or height and width of the 120 film. This camera, like I said, shoots 120mm film. It also shoots 35mm if you hack it or if you buy a kit. This back, if you look, this is the original back, which has a frame counter window, which has red plastic in here. That red plastic allows light to come in and it will fog your 35mm film. So I went ahead and bought the 35mm kit because it came with a nude door which has the window blocked with plastic. So I use this all the time, whether I'm shooting 35mm film or 120 film. The 35mm kit comes with its own mask, which is a 35mm mask, has a little arrow to tell you which way to load your film. Just like the other mask, it snaps into place. You also get these little stickers which allow you to count the clicks when you're advancing your film, because remember, the window is blocked, so you don't get to see any numbers, and most 35mm film don't have numbers. So you have the option of sticking this on here and then counting your clicks to advance your film to the next frame. You want to move that film along from the reel, from the roll of film onto the take-up reel enough to get frames that don't overlap when you're taking pictures. I haven't done that because I figured out that 34 clicks is pretty much good enough for me, and I just pretty much stopped using this, as I said, and I probably will never use that. I like using 35mm film in here because it allows me to expose the entire film and get the sprocket holes as well. Sprockets is a pretty big thing right now. I did a little hack on mine where I took a spent roll of 35mm film and took the spool out. I also took an empty take-up reel here from 120 film, and I cut the center out of the 120 spool. I took here's the one right here. I took the 35mm spool and I glued the ends of the 120 onto the ends of the 35mm spool, and I end up with something like this. So I'm using this as a take-up reel when I use 35mm film in this Holga. So this drops in on the take-up side of the Holga. I put the film over here on the other side, and I use little pieces of foam to hold this film in place. I drag it across the shutter box inside, I spool it on here, and I'm good to go. But doing this allows this film to come across when it's being dragged across the shutter or the exposure area in here. It stays lined up. You know, I found that to be the best way for me to do that. It stays lined up, and I don't have to worry about the film going crooked and getting bound or start to bind when you're trying to advance your film and you end up shooting half a roll. So this little hack is easy to do. Just a little saw, cut them off, glue them on. Lord knows. The reason I have these is because I process my own film, so I have a lot of this stuff laying around, and it was an easy, 10-minute little hack. Fun to do, something you should try if you want to shoot sprockets in a 135mm film or 35mm film in your Holga. Also, I have, just like other lightweight toy cameras, the shutter release button here is on the side of the lens or on the side of the body, and every time I press that, I move my camera and I end up with a little blurring from camera motion. So I went and bought the cable release kit, which simply sits down on here and allows you to screw in a cable release on the top. So I use the cable release and I don't have to move this camera. So that's a very helpful little tool that you can buy if you have the same problem that I have with camera movement when you expose your images. I also have a Holga wide-angle lens, which is easy to use. It simply sits down on top of the original lens, or the standard lens that's on here, and it gives you kind of an odd-looking wide-angle shot. You get some heavy vignetting around the outer edges of your image. But, it's an interesting look. It's not something that I'm, crazy about, but, it's nice to mix it up every now and then. It's, just a nice little change. So I love using that. But for now, I'll be shooting 35mm film, 120 film, and both of those in black and white and color. I was going to use the instant back, which I got from the Impossible Project mid-year last year. It comes with its own little mask, a correction lens to correct for the increased distance, the lens to the plane of film here. This camera simply sits down on here, and you load in instant film, pack film. I have color and black and white. I have tons of this. I was going to use this peel apart film. You know what I'm talking about. But I've decided not to do that, to strictly stick to 35 and 120 film for this particular project. So this will be a project for another day. So that's what I'm doing this month. The Holga 120 GN. Oh, and by the way, if you look on YouTube, you'll probably see a video featuring this particular camera and how I hacked it, sort of a kind of a Borg hack, using all of these components on here. I had planned to use all of that, but decided that it might be a bit much for this project. So you will not see me cruising down the streets with my assimilated Holga 120 this particular time, but maybe next time. But right now, this is it. The Holga 120 GN. Oh, and I also have a little, trigger, a flash trigger that I use sometimes on here. Let's see. This would mount here, and I have a. Oh, look, I can't even get it on there, but it doesn't matter. I have flashes that I use with this Holga, which work perfectly. But this is it. Holga 120 GN for the month of March. My analog project for 2011. Hopefully the pictures will turn out great. I'm sure they will. Look for them on bokehimage.com, dread242.com, or my Flickr photo stream. All right, so thanks for watching, and see you next time.